A Turk living in Cappadocia is renovating his house. He is going to convert the basement into a bedroom. He dug very hard, but unexpectedly came across a few large rocks. When he removed the stones one by one, he found the entrance to a tunnel. He was very curious and walked into the tunnel to see that it was pretty spacious inside. After walking for a while, he suddenly found that this was not just a tunnel, but also connected to other tunnels in all directions. The Turk reported the incident to the government. The Turkish government sent people to investigate. This investigation was incredible. A vast underground city surfaced, and the world knew about the Derinkuyu underground city. The underground city is 85 meters deep and is divided into 10 layers, each of which can be switched on and off independently. Derinkuyu underground city can accommodate up to 20,000 people living there, and the living facilities are complete. There are storage rooms, wine cellars, oil presses, and even temples and schools in the canteen. Moreover, the Derinkuyu underground city is also equipped with a large ventilation shaft, which can supply water to the villagers on the ground and underground and ventilate the underground city, which is multifunctional. Therefore, we can say that as long as the material reserves are sufficient, people can always live in this underground city. So, when was this underground city built? Who lives here? Why build this underground city? From the current understanding, the only purpose of constructing such large-scale underground buildings is to prevent disasters and avoid dangers. For example, you can hide the underground in extreme weather, such as hurricanes, severe colds, etc. Another example is the war, which is used for escape or emergency evacuation. Some people speculate that the Derinkuyu underground city may have been built from the 7th century to the 11th century because the two significant overlords in the Middle East were Caliphate and Byzantine Empire. Several wars broke out between them to compete for territory. Therefore, the local Christian residents built an underground shelter to avoid Muslim attacks. When the iron cavalry of the Timurid Empire swept across Central Asia in the 14th century, residents did move in. But in fact, the Derinkuyu underground city was built much earlier than these times. According to the data of the Turkish government, the cave on which the Derinkuyu underground city is based may have been built more than 3,000 years ago. But Christians and residents did move in and live there. It was discovered by residents after the 7th century and used them. They are not the original builders. In a place called Avanos, about 30 kilometers north of Derinkuyu underground city, there is also a large underground facility with 3 floors called Ozkonak underground city. It is similar in style and structure to Derinkuyu underground city. Archaeologists identified that this underground facility was built 5,000 years ago. But unfortunately, this time has gone beyond the stage of recorded history. So if we want to solve this mystery, we can only turn to legends. Zoroastrianism, or Mazda-e-Azna, was the most influential religion in the Middle East and West Asia before the birth of Islam. It is the state religion of the Achaemenid Empire, also called the First Persian Empire. In 500 BC, the Persian Empire spanned from the Balkans to North Africa and Central Asia. It spanned the 3 continents of Europe, Asia, and Africa and was vaster than the later Roman Empire. Zoroastrianism's religious text Vesta records such a story. Long ago, the ancient Persians lived in a place on earth called Arianim Vyasia. The climate here is mild, with only 2 seasons, summer and winter. There are 7 months in summer and 5 months in winter. Here, the vegetation is lush, the water is gurgling, and the grains are prosperous every year. But one day, Ahura Mazda, the creator god of ancient Persia, suddenly appeared in front of a shepherd named Yima. Ahura Mazda asked him to lead the group to quickly build a vast cellar underground. This large cellar should accommodate not only people, but also a variety of healthy livestock, excellent seeds of fruits and vegetables, and need to introduce living water because the environment will change soon. It sounds like a cellar version of Noah's Ark. The cold winter is coming, and there is heavy snow everywhere. Animals, plants, and people left outside will be frozen to death. But the Persians escaped this disaster because they hid in the extensive cellar in advance. We will find that underground cities like Derinkuyu and Ozkanak do not exist in isolation. As we mentioned in the last episode, ancient Egypt historian Herodotus described a magnificent underground palace left by the ancient Egyptians in his book Histories. Where is this palace? He wrote, "The underground labyrinth next to the Lake of Moiri, and nearly opposite to that which is called the City of Crocodiles." This place is now called Hawara in Egypt, less than 100 kilometers from Cairo. Herodotus vividly describes the grandeur of this underground city. Later in the 17th century, a German scholar named Athanasius Kircher drew the underground city according to his description. Herodotus said that the underground palace has more than 3,000 rooms, which can accommodate many people. In addition, the entire palace has perfect drainage and air intake system, so a large group of people can live there for a long time without any problem. Why does Herodotus know so well? Because he claimed he had seen it. Herodotus is a man from the 5th century BC, and after him, no one has seen the palace again. At that time, history, novels, and poetry were all indistinguishable. When a poem is long, it is called an epic, and it becomes history, and history is written like a novel, adding a lot of the author's own understanding and imagination. So later, generations think that this is probably a fantasy of Herodotus himself, and no one has gone into it. In 2008, Belgium's Ghent University collaborated with an Egyptian archaeological team to explore the area. First, they found the remains of a stone building more than 300 meters wide under the sand, more than 4 meters deep. Then, the expedition team used ground-penetrating radar to find a net-like and orderly building structure in the deeper strata. Still, the Egyptian government has never allowed the expedition team to excavate, and even the news has not been released. Researchers at Ghent University had to publish the news online themselves. So, unfortunately, if you want to know the whole picture of the underground palace, you will have to wait. In addition to Egypt and Turkey, such habitable underground tunnels have also been found in many other countries around the Mediterranean, such as Portugal, Spain, and Greece. As early as 3,000 years ago, the region around the Mediterranean Sea has been closely connected. There may well be earlier origins for this connection. In ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Asia Minor, the civilizations at that time learned from each other and studied how to survive the catastrophe. It is entirely possible. Just like today, countries worldwide are discussing how to deal with the coronavirus outbreak. Therefore, large underground buildings with similar functions are found in the Mediterranean area. So the question is, how are these underground structures built? The Egyptian Memphis mythology system gives clues. Egyptian creator god Ptah and 8 Hinumu dwarves completed the work of creation, including the creation of human beings. Initially, the creator god Ptah was also a dwarf, and the 8 Num who worked for Ptah also lived underground. Coincidentally, the location of the ancient city of Memphis is not far from the vast underground city described by Herodotus. The dwarves in the familiar movie, The Lord of the Rings, are also the best mining tribes. They are good at digging for treasures and building magnificent palaces deep in the mountains and underground. For example, Dwarf Gimli in the movie likes to boast Moria. There is also Lonely Mountain, the home of the Dwarvish kingdom under the mountain in the film The Hobbit. They are all large dungeons. Moria, the main set in the second half of the movie, The Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of the Ring and the scene of a fierce battle is a complex network of tunnels. It is an underground shortcut through the misty mountains of Middle-earth. It sounds very similar to the Derinkuyu underground city discovered in Turkey, and it is simply the prototype of the novel. Could ancient dwarves build these underground cities? The dwarves in the novel, The Lord of the Rings, are based on Norse mythology. However, this legend of dwarves who like to dig tunnels is not unique to the Mediterranean cultural circle, but has a broader existence. For example, An underground tunnel system called Erdstall has been discovered in Bavaria, Germany. Its construction age is estimated to be between 5,000 and 12,000 years ago. Later, it was found that this tunnel system is all over Europe, with various types, not only in Germany. A common feature is that the tunnels are very low, usually only 1 meter to 1.4 meters high, and only about 60 centimeters wide. So it's hard to say that it is designed for humans of our size, but it is more suitable for the legendary dwarves or the Hobbit in The Lord of the Rings. The Hopi, an ancient Native American tribe, also tells a story about an ancient underground race. In Hopi mythology, their friend and savior, ant people's secretive race, sheltered Hopi during the cataclysm, allowing them to survive. Today, Hopi regards a sacred underground cave kiva, which as a place to commemorate the life-saving grace of ant people. Ant people saved Hopi from 2 major disasters in their underground home. The Hopi civilization is also somewhat related to the societies around the Mediterranean Middle East. American anthropologist Gary David specializes in studying indigenous cultures in the American Southwest. He found that Hopi did have a cultural connection with the ancient Egyptians and the Sumerians in ancient Mesopotamia. Hopi has the word Anunnaki, which resembles Sumer's Anunnaki. Anu in Hopi means ant, and Naki means friends. So the whole word means ant friends. And the Anunnaki in the Sumer civilization is the gods of grandchildren of the sky god Anu and the earth god Ki. Whether it is Anunnaki or Anunnaki, they are all about the land. It naturally reminds us of Egyptian mythology, the god Pa and his dwarves team. There is also the root of the word Anu, Danu in ancient Egyptian, which means property and gift. At the behest of the Hopi god of creation, Sutuknang, and people helped Hopi survive 2 disasters. Isn't this a gift? Is this a gift from God? To survive a catastrophe is the most precious gift, the gift of life. Ant people is the working team of the god Sutuknang and the team who built the underground shelter, the same as the god Ptah and his dwarves team in ancient Egypt. In Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki also had a working group called Igigi. So ant people saves Hopi. Zoroastrianism protects the Persians from the excellent cellar. And the god Ptah and his dwarves from the ancient Egyptian mythology are probably telling similar stories. In anthropological terms, the legends of these civilizations have a high degree of consistency in narrative structure, which is indirect evidence of a connection between cultures. For example, North American Hopi, ancient Egyptians, and ancient Persians shared the exact civilizational origins or experienced the same events. Again, what happened in a particular era in ancient times? Caused people to collectively hide in the ground to take refuge? Scientists have found that Earth was hit by a comet about 12,000 years ago, causing volcanic eruptions worldwide and significant floods in some areas. Immediately afterward, the volcanic ash that filled the atmosphere blocked the sun, causing the planet to cool down and creating a small ice age known as the Younger Dryas. During this period, life on Earth had already been devastated, and many large animals became extinct, including mammoths. This event matches the legend of Zoroastrianism and the legend of Hopi. At this point in the story, let's put together the legends of several civilizations to outline their outline. At a particular moment, the harsh winter comes. All things wither, and life is wiped out in large numbers. Under the arrangement of higher wisdom, that is, under the arrangement of God, human beings got the help of the dwarves and were able to enter the underground city built by the dwarves to take refuge. Dwarves are the rescuers appointed by God and work for God. In other words, some people were taken in by the underground race of dwarves and became survivors of the disaster. They didn't return to the ground until the weather got better. Today's last question is, where are these dwarves who have created a brilliant underground civilization? They have been out of contact with humans for thousands of years. Does it mean that they can only be found deeper underground? The movie The Lord of the Rings has a symbolic ending. After the One Ring was destroyed, Elven Prince Legolas, Gimli, the representative of the dwarves, and Hobbit Frodo Baggins, who inherited the One Ring, left Middle-earth by boat together and disappeared into the vast sea. Middle-earth, the third age of the Age of Mythology, came to an end, and Middle-earth ushered in an era with humans as the protagonists.